Good morning everyone, myself Bhupinder Kaur from Akal Academy, Dhaka Sahib. Today I am here with a poem Amanda from First Flight Class 10. This poem has been written by Robin Clay. This poem has a conversational style where only one speaker, that is mother, voices her views. The thoughts of the child, which are put in the parentheses, are not uttered here. A child seems to be listening in her silent way only, but in reality we will see here poor child wants to live in her imaginary world. Let's start its first stanza now. Its first stanza goes like this. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. In this stanza, speaker is probably the mother of young school-going girl. The mother is in the habit of continuously checking and scolding her daughter. She prohibits Amanda from biting her nails. She further instructs her not to bend her shoulders and stop to sit in a slouching position. She also instructs her to sit straight and in a exact position. Now move to next stanza. It goes like this. There is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. In this stanza, we can say Amanda does not care much about her mother's instructions. She loves to live in an imaginary world. She imagines that she is not a human but a mermaid. Mermaid means a water fairy, and she is alone in a beautiful green sea. There is nobody to disturb her, and she is drifting along in a relaxed manner in the sea. Now see the next stanza. It goes like this. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. In this stanza, Amanda's mother is both irritated and angry at Amanda. She once again speaks to her in a, in an authoritative tone and asks her whether she has completed the homework assigned by the school teacher. Further, she asks her whether or not she has cleaned up her own room. She also reminds Amanda of her earlier instructions to clean her shoes, but it is still undone. Now see next stanza. It goes like this. I'm an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my huge bare feet. The silence is golden. The freedom is sweet. In this stanza, once again, little Amanda withdraws into her world of imagination. She imagines herself to be an orphan girl roaming about the street. With her bare feet, she walks on a dirty street, silently making patterns in the dirt while she walking. Here she is fully free to do whatever she likes in that world of her imagination, but no silence and no freedom in her present life. Now, its next stanza goes like this. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you, Amanda? In this stanza, Amanda's mother tells Amanda not to have any chocolate for it might cause acne on her face. It seems that acne is serious problem for Amanda because her mother wants her to remember how they had looked on her earlier too, and she might not have forgotten the experience so easily. Perhaps this unpleasant memory has made Amanda turn her face away. For her mother then tells Amanda to look at her while she is speaking as a sign of respect towards her. Now move to the next stanza. It goes like this. I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I shall certainly never let down my bright hair. In this stanza again, we will see in order to take a break from her mother's nagging remarks, Amanda wants again withdraws into her fantasy world. She imagines herself to be Rapunzel, perfectly happy to live alone in the tower, for she has nothing to worry about. However, unlike Rapunzel, Amanda is happy being alone in the tower and decides never to lower her hair in an attempt to escape from the tower. Now move to the next stanza. It goes like this. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nicked at you. In this stanza, we can see that Amanda's mother thinks that Amanda is getting bad tempered. She tells her to stop sulking. Sulking means here getting bad temper. Or she wants her to stop sulking her and accuses her of being too moody. She fears that people would blame the mother and call her nagging for her attitude and behavior. Now we'll see some literary devices which used by poetess in this poem. First one, alliteration. Alliteration is occurrence of the same sound at the beginning of the adjacent or closely connected word. Its example is that in this poem, stop as lunching and sit up straight. Here's a sound has been repeated which makes the line musical. Then we can see that alliteration is used here. Another example of alliteration is that stop as sulking at once, Amanda. Here also a sound is being repeated. So alliteration is used here also. Next poetic device, anaphora, is used by poetess here. Anaphora means poetic device in which a word or group of words is usually repeated at the beginning of the sentences or clauses to create a special effect. Now see the example of the anaphora. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? Here both lines are started with same words, did you. That we can see that anaphora is used here. Next example of anaphora is here. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. These both lines also started with don't and same words. That we can see that anaphora is used here also. Its large device used by poetess here, that is metaphor. Metaphor means a figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between two things that are not alike but do have something in common. Okay, so we can see the example of metaphor also in the stanzas second, 4 and 6. In these stanzas, poetess compare the Amanda as a mermaid, as an orphan, and as a Rapunzel also. So we can see that poetess has used here metaphor also in this poem. I hope you understood it well. Now, thank you. Have a nice day.